What is going on, guys? We are back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the X-T4, and I'm going to be announcing the giveaway winner at the end. So about a month ago, Fujifilm was nice enough to send over the X-T4 for me to use for about a month. Not only did they send the camera body, but they also sent the Fuji Non 16-55 f2.8. I wanted to learn the ergonomics and learn how to actually use the camera before actually making a video on it. So I had plans to compare it to my camera, the EOS since they're practically the same price and they're both mirrorless cameras. The EOS is $1,800 while the X-T4 is $1,700. It's literally only a $100 difference. However, the thing that I thought wasn't fair was that the X-T4 is a crop sensor camera while the EOS is a full frame camera. So I felt like it wasn't a right comparison, like I felt like it wasn't fair. So to give you a quick rundown on the X-T4, it's a 1700 mirrorless crop sensor camera. It has a resolution of 26.1 megapixels and it's been out since February, so it's still fairly new. So the reason that I wanted to try out this camera, because whenever it came out in February, it really caught my attention and I wanted to see what it was actually about. And as a Canon shooter, I wanted to try something a little bit out of my comfort zone. And a quick disclaimer, I'm not going to be going into great detail about this camera. I'm just going to be talking about my personal experience. There's a bunch of videos out there that explain this camera perfectly, and I'll link those down below. So the first thing on the list is the photos. The photos actually came out really good for being a crop sensor camera, and with it being paired to the 16-55, it was literally a dream combination, and the photos came out really sharp and really nice. The shutter on this camera was very quiet and it was actually really fast. The X-T4 is capable of shooting 15 frames per second, which is very impressive for the amount of price that you're paying for this camera. This camera also performs very well in low light, but before I get into it, let me show you a couple shots that I got with this camera. So what really impressed me with this camera was the low light capabilities and the dynamic range that this camera has. Dynamic range in photography means the ratio between the maximum and the minimum measurable light intensities. To sum it down a little bit, it's the amount of information that your camera is able to capture in extremely bright or extremely dark conditions. Usually when you're shooting outdoors, you're able to expose for your subject and not the sky, or you're able to expose for the sky and not your subject, depending on the lighting conditions. So a camera with good dynamic range is going to allow you to bring back those shadows and pull down those highlights when it comes to editing. So here are a couple photos that show what the X-T4 is capable of. I was able to bring back so much of the shadows that in the pictures it literally looks like you were outside during the day. So going on to video, this camera did extremely well. It did a lot better than I was expecting. The X-T4 lets you shoot in 24, 30, 60, 120, and 240 frames per second, which is pretty amazing for it being just a crop sensor camera. The autofocus was a little delayed when panning to different subjects, but it's not a deal breaker. If you're planning on vlogging, this camera does the job. When you have it pointed directly at you, the eye and face detection do its job and it works really well. And it has a flip out screen, so that's a huge plus. I pretended to vlog with it to see if it would lose focus and it never did. And just like in photos, when recording in video, it lets you crank up the ISO high that it literally made it seem like it was crazy bright outside. It literally made it seem like you were recording yourself in midday. So it is without doubt that the low light capabilities of this camera are extremely great. So now it's time to talk about the things that I didn't like. Since we're still with the video topic, let's go ahead and discuss these high frame rates. For those of you that don't know, slow motion is shot in 60, 120, and 200 frames per second. For me, I've always shot in 60 frames per second because I've never had the luxury to have 120 or 240, so I've always stuck to 60 frames per second. So whenever I saw that the X-T4 shoots 120 and 240 in 1080p, which is full HD, that kind of made me a little excited to use this camera. However, this is where the camera disappointed me the most. Shooting in 120 and 240 was absolutely horrific. I did not like how it looked at all. It had a bunch of grain, a bunch of noise, and it looked kind of like mushy in a way. I provided 3 examples shot at 60, 120, and 240, and let me know what you think. So yes, you're able to shoot in these high frame rates, but it's practically unusable in my opinion. I felt like there was no need to include 120 and 240. If it's literally gonna look like this, there's no point in using it if it's gonna come out bad. And the last thing I didn't like about the X-T4 was the layout of the buttons. I understand that they're going for that old vintage film look, but at first glance, all the knobs and numbers can be a little bit overwhelming. It can discourage someone from wanting to buy it. However, of course, with everything, once you use it so much times, you're gonna get used to the controls and the knobs, so it's not really a breaking point. It was just my personal opinion on the layout. So overall, the camera did really good. It's lightweight, it has sharp images, sharp video, has great low light capabilities, and it has great dynamic range. But of course, if you're looking for that camera that has smooth, buttery 120 slow-mo, this might not be the camera for you. As mentioned before, don't be discouraged in buying this camera. This is just my personal opinion. It is indeed a powerful camera for the price. Like I said, I'm going to leave more informative videos down below. So now for the part that everyone's been waiting for and that probably skipped all the way to the end for, I'm going to be announcing the giveaway winner for the mic. So for this, I was going to write down all of the names and put them into one of those random pickers, but I felt that was going to be too time consuming, so I went ahead and found a website that was going to choose a comment for me. I did this at midnight and screen recorded my screen so y'all could see how it all works. So without further ado, let's get into it. And a huge congratulations to Alejandro. I will contact you through IG and we can figure out how to get this mic to you. And I want to give a huge thanks to everyone that participated in the giveaway. But like always, that's going to be it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See y'all next week. Peace.